Our TV show Speed Management focuses on the CEOs and managers of various racing companies. We present to you a 5-part miniseries following 5 colleagues through trials and tribulations they have been finding themselves in running successful racing franchises.
Jessica, local territory manager for MHRA Drag Racing Series. The main traits carried by Jessica are confronting, bold, hypercritical, demanding, and short-tempered. She sets high standards for those that work under her. There are no mistakes without punishments. She is in her 40s and married with no children. Her job is her hobby, and employees get nervous when they hear her high heels walking the hall. She is always in a business suit and takes the way she comes across professionally very seriously. She is task-driven and focused on achieving goals, even if it means getting things done in a less than ideal time. Militant type managing style, being a part of a long line of family members in the service. Even though she is strict, this doesn't mean she isn't liked or not respected by her peers and knows she just wants what's best for the company and the bottom line. Jessica realizes she can be tough, perhaps a little too demanding and harsh at times, and knows this is something that she needs to work on. In episode 5, the MHRA Drag Racing Series has been receiving negative social media reviews about their customer service. One review specifically stated that the employee was saying damaging things about the company and gave the customers an overall bad experience. After the local territory manager, Jessica, found out about the issue and that this employee works in her district, she decides to confront him about the situation and listens to his perspective on the incident and what happened. She is not sure how to handle this situation, knowing that the customer is always right and that this employee has had previous negative reviews on websites such as Yelp, TripAdvisor, Facebook, Instagram, and Google. She thinks about transferring him to a department of the company where the employee won't interact with the customer. Her other alternative, and gut instinct, is to fire him. Before making a final decision and acting on impulse, she decides to talk to her colleagues, Becca and Devi, who help her decide that she should schedule a meeting with the employee, hear them out, and then decide what disciplinary action needs to take place. After meeting with Rick, the employee, she learns that his values don't align with the company's core values. There are some things he feels as though the company should focus more on and often feels neglected and unheard. Jessica takes into consideration Rick's feelings and decides to make some changes to how employees make suggestions about their work environment in the company. Rick did not get off easy, though. Jessica did end up transferring him to another department, as she felt that a change of atmosphere and work duties is what he needed.
Austen is the manager of Dragon Energy Supercross. He is very by the books. He is very caring, but he is a stickler when it comes to spending and wasted money. He is very much a penny pincher and expects all of his employees to be frugal. He spends hours in a given day overlooking receipts, making sure all things are in order and accounted for at a great price. He is a well-liked leader because he exhibits the employee that embodies the qualities wanted for his company. Often found helping employees with their issues rather than brushing it off for someone else. If his employees are happy, then he is happy. Ultimately, he wants to have a successful business, but a fun-loving bond between all the employees. Because he believes you can work effectively and efficiently at a job you actually enjoy rather than hating the job. Most employees get off at decent hours, and team-building events are held throughout the year to boost morale. In episode 3, with the Dragon Energy Supercross right around the corner, owner Austen acquires a new driver, Lucille Levermont. all the way from France. This is Lucille's very first time away from France and speaks a very small amount of English. All chaos breaks loose when the pit crew, when Stacy, a team coordinator, and the driver, when they discover there is a language barrier between them. How are Austen's employees supposed to communicate effectively so they can get the bike running? More importantly, how is this going to cost them? Austen is all about profits and gains, so he's worried about how he is going to handle the situation while keeping the employees happy. Austen knows that he must overcome diversity by using these principles. 1. Know yourself. Being tolerable and open-minded to those that are of different backgrounds than us. 2. Preparing yourself and employees. Communicating with employees regarding the differences and changes. 3. Provide support. Make sure to provide support to all employees apart from differences. Guide behaviors as number 4. Monitor the behavior of your subordinates and peers. Promote tolerance and diversity. Upon meeting with his good friend Colin, who is also a manager, they get to discussing day-to-day things going on, as well as the big races Austen faces. Austen looks to Colin for advice on how he is going to manage the communication situation. Colin says he recently went through the same issue and offered some very helpful advice. After careful consideration, Austen decided to execute the plan. He rounded up the employees and pit crew for a meeting in which they discussed the importance of acceptance and diversity. He highlighted the reasons why they chose this driver and that they all need to work together as a team to understand each other. After the discussion, the episode ends with Stacy and Lucille getting along and communicating perfectly. According to the management book, the organizational context of communications are composed of individuals and groups, Lucille and Stacy in this instance, oriented towards goals, differentiated functions, intended coordination, and continuity throughout time. Both Lucille and Stacy realize they're on the same team and work towards a common goal. They put their cultural differences aside and find out that they complement each other, making the group more versed in communication and effectiveness. The barriers that were faced were both interpersonal, in which the sender and receiver are trying to make what they can say count effective as possible for the other person to understand, as well as cultural, whereas we come from and how it affects from what we say and receive from other people.
Becca is the general manager of Tampa Bay's Go-Karts, a local indoor go-kart track. She's figuring out the type of manager she is and wants to be. She's young, in her early 20s, and gets along well with the employees and is well liked by all of them. However, because of this, she tends to be a bit of a pushover and allows her employees to get away with a lot. While she knows she should be stricter, she also knows that her employees are good workers and take good care of their customers. Becca eventually figures out that the culprit is one of her workers, and decides she needs to step up her management game. While Becca enjoys being a well-liked manager, she needs to be equally as respected and knows she'll only achieve that if she starts to enforce the rules. In episode 1 of Speed Management, Becca, the general manager of Tampa Bay's Go-Karts, has been dealing with problems lately involving missing stock items such as drinks and snacks, and the company sells them to its customers. She is not sure what to do in regards to whether it could be an employee stealing items or a few customers snagging items and just not paying for them. She asks her friends with managerial statuses what they think she should do, and receives ideas such as installing security cameras to oversee the snack bar, coming in early to count stock every day to narrow down which days the items are going missing, or personally speaking with each employee to see if they know anything about the missing stock. Becca ends up solving the theft situation of the snack stand by using the classical rational model. She identified the problem, developed objectives that needed to be accomplished, and generated alternatives by creating new solutions such as installing more cameras. Then, Becca spoke to the employees and implemented the rules of the establishment. Lastly, Becca found out why there was a shortage of chips from the snack stand and helped and held the person responsible accountable for their actions.
Devi, owner of Global Formula One Racing Enterprise. Devi is the owner of a global Formula One racing enterprise. He loves his job and is very passionate about Formula One. He is a very positive and optimistic person, making the best out of every situation that he faces. Very patient and tries to help his employees as much as he can. He also likes to joke around, boost everybody's spirits, and he is a very friendly person too. He does a good job choosing well-qualified employees because he has little room for errors. He is very business-oriented because his job is his baby. The future of the company will be success and nothing less. Hard work equals great payoff is a motto he uses daily. Main traits include listening, positivity, but strict when needed. He is 5'11", athletic, in his late 40s. In episode 7, all the managers meet up together and have a drink after a long and hard quarter, and talk about the things that happened to them, and also the obstacles that they had to face and how they were able to solve them. Becca talks about the time when she had to deal with the missing stock items, such as drinks and snacks that her company sells to its customers. She talks about how she was able to solve it by talking to her friends, who are also managers in other companies, and coming up with ideas such as installing security cameras, counting the stock herself, and asking the other employees if they knew anything. The managers also talk about employee training, as in the case of Austen, when he talks about the time he struggled to work through a language barrier between the pit crew and the new car racer, wanting to compete in his series from France. He talks about how he was able to solve this issue by hiring a private tutor, a translator, and have Lucille start using Rosetta Stone and learn a few terms pertaining to the workplace which would really help their communication. Also, the managers talk about the delegation of power and rewarding employees when they have done well, as in the case of Nahn-Hee, when she talks about the situation that she had with her managers and assistant managers when she discovered that they had not been delegating responsibilities evenly among themselves and the employees below them, and have been taking credit for work that they did not do. Jessica talks about the time when she had to confront the local territory manager of MHRA drag racing series, who works in her district, about a bad review that he received on websites such as Google, Yelp, and TripAdvisor. Devi talks about how he was able to help his friends using his managerial knowledge and his past experiences, making sure that his friends understand that being a leader is not going to be easy. They will have situations that they will have to face, and they will have to come up with solutions and make wise decisions while taking everything into consideration.
Nahn-Hee is the CEO of Fastcar. She is a middle-aged, well-versed, experienced businesswoman. Having just been hired for this job, she is trying to understand the responsibilities and duties of those below her. Nahn-Hee wants Fastcar to run as a business, and all businesses need structure. Her goal is to meet with all her managers and employees and discuss with them of what is to be expected under her tenure. Recent events have come to light where she believes that upper-level management are not doing their jobs correctly. There's a possibility that people have been taking credits on jobs that they have not been taking responsibility for themselves. After discussions with her other executive officers and friends who are also CEOs of other successful corporations, Nahn-Hee decides she needs to shake up upper-level management. She is very receptive to employee suggestions since her arrival. She has taken it into consideration about making Fastcar a better place to work. Nahn-Hee wants to be the type of CEO that will accomplish the tasks that are set forth to her while balancing employee input, work goals, and the bottom line. In episode 4, she discovers that a few of her trusted managers and assistant managers have not been delegating responsibilities evenly among themselves and the employees below them and have been taking credit for work. She is well aware that recognition is deserved for the employees completing the work, but also needs to decide whether to uphold their business morals of integrity and trust and fire the managers or give them a chance to earn their position. Nahn-Hee comes to her friends and colleagues unsure of what to do in this situation and see if they ever had issues like this in their companies. These friends inform her that these leaders are not behaving in managerial fashion, and she should either fire them or hold a meeting and discuss the information she had received and see what they have to say for themselves. Aside from that, she now also needs to give credit to the lower level employees that have been completing work designated for their managers. Differentiation is shown where certain tasks should be divided into subtasks and performed by individuals with specific skills. This would divide the task amongst everyone and be able to accomplish things in a successful professional manner. Alongside with the idea of formalization, where Nahn-Hee solves the issue by defining the structure of the managers and assistant managers to delegate the responsibilities in a respectful manner.